Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dissgruntled. I am your host, Joplin Jayne. This is the podcast. It is a competition of grievances. And this episode, as every episode, we have very funny comedians on the show. This week, please give a warm welcome to Lisa Buck from North Carolina.
Hey, how are you? Yes, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be so fun.
Very glad to have you. I love your energy already. And please give a warm welcome to Caitland Juvland from Minnesota.
It's Caitland Juvland, and hi, thank you.
Is it Juvland?
Yeah, Juvland. You would never guess that.
Let's go back. I want to get that right. Okay, Caitland Juvland.
Yep.
Did I pronounce Minnesota right?
Yeah, I'm glad you said it too, because I don't say it, because then everyone will hear the way I say that.
Sorta.
Minnesota?
You can say it.
Do you say it like that?
Probably.
Oh my
God. I used to work at a summer camp in Ohio, and they called me out, so I would really mask how I talked, which is just weird.
No. Were you shaking for your Minnesota accent? I mean, okay.
I wanted to be cool. I want to be a cool Midwestern Ohio girl. But if you listen to the way I say my O's, you'll hear it.
Say Minnesota.
I heard your O's.
Minnesota.
You were no. You thought real hard about that. Yeah, that wasn't real.
Minnesota.
That sounds
I like it. You're whitewashing your white accent. I could hear it when you're like, you can hear how I say it in my O's. Because you said O's.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm here to make it cool.
I have to say it's a bit jarring to hear that kind of accent come from you, not in a bad way. Like you're like young, blonde, and hot, and it's just like when you hear like that accent, you think it's like Midwestern housewife who makes like hot dogs in every meal. Like that's what you think, beans and hot dogs.
How do you say hot dogs?
Hot dogs.
Oh, same.
Let's go through all the words, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have to leave that in there because that was fun and awesome. So her name is Caitland Juvland. Juvland.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Juvland. Caitland Juvland. And she's from Minnesota, but she doesn't say it like that. As our listeners know, we have 2 rounds in this show. The first round is called Petty Grievances. After every round, I award points. And at the end, whoever has the most points is valid in their grievances. And the other comic is just disgruntled. Round 1 is called Petty Rapid Fire. We're going to start things off with Lisa. And then it will be Caitland. In this round, comedians have 2.5 minutes to rant about as many petty personal injustices or grievances that they have with the world as possible. The person to list the most gets 1 point, and the person with the funniest grievance gets 2 points. And Lisa, I have my little timer here. Whenever you are ready, you can take it away.
Oh, God. Okay. So I have a ton, men in general. That's a grievance sometimes. Often. But no, okay, so firstly, mouth noises. I know this is kind of common, but nobody wants to hear your gross tongue flopping around in your sloppy wet mouth. I will lose my shit over this. I've made people in airports spit their gum out into my hand because they're smacking it. I cannot handle it. There was one time I was in class when I was in college, and this girl, firstly, she was wearing Mr. Clean pants. They had Mr. Clean's face all over them, and she was smacking her gum so loud during a test that I had to raise my hand and be like, I can't, someone's got to stop smacking their gum.
Love it.
Looking at her. I can't handle, I'll rip your face off of your head. And I do not like confrontation. One of my friends was making out with a guy once on the floor of a hotel room, and I kicked them in the head. Because they made me so mad. I swear to God. But another one, when I was a kid, oh my God, my mom promised my sister and I a big trampoline if we got perms. My perm was like a mullet. They cut my hair too, so I had straight bangs and to here. And then this frizzy perm that I used to brush out for some reason. We never got the fucking trampoline. Can I cuss on here? I'm sorry.
Of course, yeah.
Like, yeah, we never got the trampoline. We bring it up every time we're around my mom to this day. Like, I still feel like I've owned a trampoline. For real.
You are.
Like, I look like Billy Ray Cyrus when I was a kid. People made fun of me at school. It was awful.
Oh.
But I think my biggest thing that I hold on to really hard is this girl in 2nd grade named Tina. Firstly, fuck Tina. I don't give a fuck. Like, I can't remember. I wish I knew her last name because I would find her and beat her up. This made me so mad. She had this, like, Farrah Fawcett haircut-ish, like an old lady, but on a child in 2nd grade, a 7-year-old. This bitch, let me tell you what she did. On Wednesdays at school, I would get $1 to spend at like the snack bar. It was only open on Wednesdays. I was so excited. I had it in my little jean purse in my cubby hole. We came in from recess. Bitch is in my purse, in my cubby hole, unzipped, digging through it. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, ran over. And my $1 is gone, by the way. And I was like, she took my $1. Sure enough, she has $1 in her freaking hands.
Oh my gosh.
And the teacher was like, did you take her $1? She was like, no, this is mine. To this day, when I go and get my hair done, if they like style it, blow dry it out, I'm like, no, I can't do it. It's a Tina. It's a Tina self. I'm not kidding. Like, I swear to God.
Okay, time.
Oh.
You know what I love, Lisa? You look like a teenager from like the 2000s. And Caitland, you look like the teenager from the 90s. And I look like your mom's.
That means I'm out of style because 90s are back.
So, question about Tina. Have you ever like looked her up?
No, but I did text my sister before this came on, and I was like, I think she's got a yearbook. And I was like, send me a picture of Tina from 2nd grade. I can't remember her last name. If I did, I would say it on air. I don't care.
She's definitely married by now. She seems like an early Mary type person. Her last name's probably different, but I mean, fuck Tina. Fuck Tina all day long.
Fuck Tina, yeah.
Caitland, have you ever like looked up people from like elementary school bullies or whatever?
They always end up looking me up.
What? Are you the bully?
I'm like a recluse hermit, or at least I think I am. And then somebody finds me and it's like, okay. I have deleted Facebook a few times, like deleted Facebook a few times just because I felt like I really embarrassed myself. And then years go by, I'm like, yeah, it's time to go back on. Mm-hmm. And then like whoever finds you. And then you get to have fun, like sussing through the friend requests. Like, am I okay with this person seeing the weird shit I post? And sometimes there's really no like rhyme or reason to it. It's just like, if I'm feeling click happy or yeah.
Caitland, you have this like weird energy that I think is delightful. I love it. It's very like, it's kind of like Aubrey Plaza, but you're a little bit happier than her.
I have a lot to be happy about. I'm like a mascot for a lot of people. I think the difference between me and Aubrey Plaza, because I look up to her a lot, but I'm probably taller than her. But she had a seizure. I never had a seizure, but I've had several concussions. So like maybe that's the secret. It just really kind of calms you out because it's like I don't have the energy. Sometimes I can't even finish a sentence. I'm not trying to like depreciate myself here, but you just got to take into account several concussions will definitely shape you.
Wow.
Do you have murderous tendencies?
No, well, can you define those? I know that's
like, do you want to murder people?
No.
Because if you like listen to true crime podcasts or anything like that, it's not that all people that have had concussions are murderers, but most serial killers have had head injuries.
That makes sense. But to get treatment for your concussions, don't sweep them under the rug, because then you'll be sweeping a dead body under the rug.
Yep, 100%.
You would think like, yeah, at least I know you're talking about. I love a good true crime podcast. You're right though. Like, I mean, they have something fucked up with their brains, but
They either become a murderer or, I know this isn't funny, but because I grew up racing BMX, so that's why I hit my head a lot. But
That's so cool, by the way. Whoa.
it's also very sad. Like they're like Dave Mira, he's a freestyle BMX pro. He was the first video game I ever played, but that's besides the point. He ended up committing suicide. So like there's that like that, just like mental health problems up the wazoo if you don't get yourself treated.
Wow. That is
Sorry to bring it down.
Not at all, Caitland. We have real talk here. It's a comedy podcast when we get to like the segments, but like I love real conversations and I like people to totally themselves. No, but also with concussions, like, yeah, you can be a serial killer or like, mental illness. Or third option is like a lot of them become like geniuses, by the way.
Yeah.
These people with head injuries, like they will get hit on the head and they can wake up and they speak fucking French fluently.
I'm telling you, I'm taking the genius route.
Yes, Caitland, we support your genius route. This is your genius era. We are so here for it, right, Lisa?
Yeah, I have the mental health problem route. And I just found out because I was like, something happened to me. I texted my mom and I was like, because she would never tell me before. And I was like, remember when you told me how I hit my head when you dropped me as a baby? And she was like, well, you fell off the couch. I was like, I knew it. I knew it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you set her up for that? She never mentioned it, but you like kind of got it out of her?
Yeah, because I kept asking. I was like, did you drop me as a baby or something? Like, there's something wrong with my brain. I can't remember shit. Like, I have really bad ADHD, anxiety, like all this stuff. I set her up. She admitted it. See, genius. Mental health.
Genius. Nicely done. Nicely done. I have to say, like, both of you are people I would actually hang out with. Like, when you think of like normal people, I can't stand boring average people. I can't stand, they're so dull. I would pick you guys over them any fucking day of the week, any second at any time. Lisa, you had 4. I counted the one where you kicked the person on the floor when they were making out. Because
it was 2 people.
2 people. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I counted that.
Extra points then if it's 2 people that she kicked.
No, but I appreciate you lobbying for your competitors. These are good ladies here. All right.
I kicked him because I was hearing them make out and I was on my way to the bath. This was before I knew that like you shouldn't just waste water. On my way to the bathroom just to turn the bathtub on to drown out the noise of them like making out on the floor.
No. Oh, so it was loud. It was slurpy.
Yeah.
It was in your room or your house?
It was in a hotel room. We're like 17 or 18. We all went somewhere and like, you just pile in as many people in a room as you can.
You know what though? At that age, I had my best friend in college was this gay guy named Joe. And like, he was so disrespectful to his roommate in the dorm. He would he told me this story. So Joe would bring guys over to his, and this was like in like 2010, like being gay was not like, people didn't talk about it. Like it wasn't like, we've made so much progress in such a short period of time, but like we hadn't made it at that point. So like he was very openly gay and his roommate was just like this kind of incel type guy, straight. And like, so Joe had a lot of sex. He had a lot of sex. He was an adorable little twink, very, very, very cute. And like, he would constantly bring men over and fuck in the dorm room, the bed next to him, and have gay sex next to him. And I was like, Joe, what does your roommate do when you're having gay sex? And he's like, I don't know. Like, I think, he just puts a blanket over and he huddles in the corner.
He's probably jerking off.
But I remember meeting him and I was just like, yeah, that's exactly what he would do. Like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I mean, at that age, you just bone, I guess. You just bone. And but good for you for kicking them. Caitland.
Wow.
Are you ready?
Yep. It's great segue. Follow gay sex. Okay.
Hit it.
Okay, so I don't like that I love reading because I read a book about how drinking fresh spring water from a tap is good for your chakras. or chakras. I don't like that. I don't know how to say that word. So now all I can drink is fresh spring water, but I don't like that because the nearest spring water tap is like an hour drive from me. And I've become obsessed, and in order to make it worth my trip, I've invested in several of these jugs, and I don't like that. I can just, I can't, it's hard to just like pour, this is my like drink jug that I carry around. This was in a movie, by the way, Celebrity. I don't like that a lot of people don't know that. They should be bowing down to my jug. But I don't like that. This is hard to do that, okay? And so I use this as a middle thing here, and I don't like that. People ask me like, "When's the last time you cleaned that?" I can't remember. Don't ask me that. It's water I'm pouring in here that cleanses it. But then I don't like that. Sometimes I forget like this is up, so my water that I drove for an hour for just gushes out onto my carpet. And then also going to that spring, there's always, it's a good spring because a lot of people are lining up there. But sometimes I end up next to a hot guy and I like it, but I also don't like it because that makes me very nervous. And it's just a very short amount of time. Like you can't just do anything in that. But other times I've ended up next to a man who was proselytizing to me. I don't enjoy being proselytized to, especially being asked, "Do you know the Lord?" Because it doesn't matter that I went to like years and years of Jesus school growing up. I'll never know the Lord the way they want me to know the Lord. And the way I know the Lord, I don't like the Lord. He's a asshole. And one time I hallucinated that he like came down on a slide from a cloud and punched me in the face. That's just a whole other thing. I wasn't even doing drugs. I was trying to get off of these pharmaceutical pills that I was on forever. Because I'm concussed. I don't need pills. I need love. And so yeah, I got some beef with God. He owes me a few apologies. And all I have to say is I don't like being single because I can't eat my fresh produce fast enough. It always spoils. But I feel like that's better than the alternative of like talking to men. But it's really hard. It's just, they're so mean. And then if you realize you don't like the man, some of them, like, they have to tell themselves that you're gay and that you don't like them. But I never felt more gay than when I dated my exes who were men, because they made me feel like I couldn't be a woman. I didn't like that. I felt like I was a man making hard decisions.
Time.
Okay.
That was the manic pixie dream that I was hoping for from you. It was. You did not disappoint at all. The props, that was great. You brought a whole family of appliances.
Yeah, I'm big into prop comedy.
And I love how there's a jug of it behind you.
Oh yeah, that jug's on deck for when this water spills onto my carpet and I need more water to spill onto my carpet.
Authenticity, she didn't bring it just for the show. It's fucking sitting right back there.
Yeah.
No one has that many fucking jugs. Who doesn't use them?
In their room.
Well, I just actually purchased like a jug stack, and
What the hell is a jug stack? What is
like a rack? Sorry, I'm talking about jugs. But it's in the basement because I put everything on there, and then the water starts leaking out of it. So now I need to buy like really good lids. But I just have a nature center internship, so I'm not like made of money, and I'm just waiting until the budget allows for me to take that next step with my water drinking journey.
I can't. Like, you're so Aubrey Plaza. You're like nature center internship.
What movie was the other jug in?
Okay, yeah. So this lady, I really feel like I'm flexing now. Sarah McCarran, she is one of the writers for the show Station 11. But she is neighbors with the director of the nature center, and she is talking to him. She's like, "I'm making a movie," and I don't know if she talks like that, but I need a nature center or like a nature setting. And he's like, "I work at a nature center." So then this like movie crew came out, and I don't know, I'm just like, because I have a film studies minor, they're like, you want to be on the set, Caitlin? I was like, sure. So I'm like driving a golf cart for them around the nature center. And then they had a scene where they had to like use water, and they had this horrible, stupid looking jug purchased from like Aldi's or some store. And then she looked over and saw my jug. I had my jug with me sitting on the golf cart. And she's like, is that your jug? And I was like, yeah. And she asked if she could use it. And I was like, you sure can. And now this jug, like, I don't want to be famous. I want this jug to become famous. And I will collect the money on behalf of the jug.
Royalties. Caitlin, I love how your jug was discovered. Like it was on fucking
Yeah.
search. Like what?
Is that your jug?
Oh my
Does that have
God.
an agent?
I didn't even complain that they did dump out my spring water that I had in there. They just dumped it on the ground.
Oh no.
That's very rude.
They wanted
They
it.
didn't know. They didn't know that I drove an hour for it.
Can we talk more about the driving? So
Yeah.
do you take baths in spring water, or is that kind of water okay?
I'll shower in the regular city water. It's fine.
So what happens to you when you do not drink spring water?
I just start planning when I'm gonna go to the spring next. I tried it. Like I was like, nah, I can be a normal functioning member of society. And then
I love how the symptom of not drinking the spring water is organization.
Yeah. So do you fill it up from like a spring in the ground?
yeah, it's called
like animal pee and stuff?
maybe.
Lisa,
It's like that's a very valid question. No, I know this is a ridiculous habit. And quite frankly, I just don't even care.
And there's a line of people like.
It depends on what time of day you go. If you go later in the day, that's where you're gonna end up with the more sketchy people. But if you go like right away in the morning, there's no one there.
so who's sketchy? Like what kind of sketchy people are into like spring water?
Picture them.
Well, I think one of the weirdest things besides that Baptist man there, he was not there for the spring water. He was there to proselytize. There was this other time where like this guy just shows up with a water bottle, and already that's a little suspect because everyone else has jugs. And he fills up his water bottle and he sits down on the bench, and then I'm in the line, and the bench happens to be right next to where I'm standing, and so I'm just staring at the ground so he doesn't get it in his head that I want to talk to him, because that's what eye contact means these days. And he's just like, oh, this is just delicious water, it's so good. And I just started staring at the ground even harder. And then he thankfully got up and walked over to his truck, but then pulled out, I don't understand how I knew what this was. Must have been my Jesus school experience, but he pulled out a shofar, which is like a ram's horn. I think that's like Hebrew or some old biblical shit. And then he blows it to make a loud like trumpet sound. And then he gets in his truck and drives away. And the lady in front of me just looks back at me, and we're just like, that's the cost of getting spring water.
What a freak. What a freak. He blew a ram's horn and then drove off. Didn't say anything.
No, besides, oh, this water's so good.
He's like a wizard or something. Like,
Yeah.
no one does that kind of shit. It isn't like casting spells or something.
Oh yeah, I tend to attract the people who are on that magic shit all the time.
So can you show us what you look like when you're looking down, when you don't want like attention?
Oh yeah, just like do it every day. I'm like,
and guys are like, smile.
they've done that.
Like, I can't imagine anybody looking like that and then being like, I need to go up to them and try to get something from them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because when a man comes up to you and he's trying to like hit on you, he's trying to get something from you and make it his. Like, why would you Why would you look at somebody that clearly is like kind of distraught looking down like that? Like, why, how could you look at that as like a target to exploit? That's so sick.
It's like you're there to please them, and if you're not pleasing them, then what's your purpose?
Yeah.
Like, ugh, I don't know.
I saw this meme. It was so perfect. It was so freaking perfect. It was just like a word meme. It was like men at all times exist in this trajectory. When they like hit on a woman, they simultaneously think, "Oh, you hot as hell," or you're a dumb slut lesbian. And you are both of them
Yeah.
contingent on how you respond to their like cat call. If you respond positively, oh, you're sexy. If you don't respond positively, oh, you're a dumb whore lesbian. It's like, well, you're exactly these things until you see how they respond to their pathetic little come on. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, true.
I had this guy friend back in college, and we were at like Walmart or something. And he kept staring at this girl, and I was like, God, stop staring at her. You're making her uncomfortable. And she was like, and finally she was like, and he was like, she wants to fuck me. And I was like, what?
Oh no.
Is that what you took? That's your takeaway? I was like, she wants you to stop staring at her. And he's like, no, she wants me. And I'm like, she was like,
Wow. That is like, wow. I think a lot of men are autistic and they don't know it. Like, what the fuck? Are you not able to read any sort of emotional cues? Like, so many men cannot. Like, so many of them have a level of like Asperger's and autism that they don't even realize that they have.
it's called being a white man. White privilege. Like nobody could possibly not want me.
Yeah. That was fantastic. I loved it. That was like one of my favorites. Like nobody like listed like a billion, but like the little in between how you flesh them out was positively delightful. I really, really enjoyed both of those ladies. Well done. Lisa had the most. She had 4. So that is 1 point for Lisa. I'm gonna give funniest to Caitland because those jugs were fucking so crazy. That was so silly. And I appreciate that you brought the props and the whole spring water thing was so kooky and delightful. I really enjoyed it. So well done. Well done, Caitland. Well done. All right. Round 2. This is our final round. This is called WTF Story Time. And we're going to start things off with Caitland this time. In this round, comedians are going to tell a story about the worst grievance that has ever happened to them. Whoever has the best grievance gets 1 point, and whoever has the funniest grievance gets 2 points. Comedians have 5 minutes or less to tell their story. And Caitland, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Okay. It was the 3rd grade. I was 9 years old, and my older brother was playing basketball. And so we had to go to a basketball tournament for him on a Saturday. And I didn't know how to wash my own clothes at this time in my life. So it was just like whenever the clothes were clean, the clothes were clean. And I was looking for a fresh pair, clean pair of socks. Because like all my socks were dirty. My mom was getting ready in the bathroom, just like spraying hairspray on her hair or whatever she does. And then my dad was like reading a book or something. And I was like, Dad, my socks are dirty. He's like, so like I go and I keep looking for socks. So I'm like, this is a big deal. And then I finally found one clean pair of socks, and they're like these red acrylic socks. They're actually my favorite pair. So that was a score. But I realized like one of the socks was like not quite wet, not quite damp. It was like between damp and wet. And you can't, this is like winter time in Minnesota. And it's just like, no, you can't wear wet socks. So I went up to I'm like, we don't have enough time to wait for this to dry. We have to leave soon. So I go up to my dad. I'm like, this sock is wet. He's like, oh, I can fix that. And he just like remembered watching Uncle Buck with John Candy in it. And so he put my sock on a paper plate in the microwave for like 2 minutes. It didn't make the full 2 minutes because it burst into flames.
Oh my gosh.
And so my brother is laughing. My dad's like, oh, and I'm just like, watching my favorite sock get burnt. And then he takes it out, he puts out the fire, and then he cuts off, like, somehow only the top part, the ankle part got burnt. So he just like cuts that off with a pair of scissors. He's like, here you go. And I ran to my mom's still spraying hairspray on her hair or whatever she's doing in the bathroom. So I ran to the bathroom and I was like, Dad burnt my sock in the microwave. And she's like, no, he didn't. And then I'm like, whatever. I'm wearing my dirty pink socks. And then she like walks out to the kitchen and she's like, why does it smell burnt? And I'm like, because your husband burnt my sock. And, they all thought it was hilarious. They still think it's hilarious. And I'm just like, no regard for my stuff. That was my favorite sock. That's what I have.
Is that the end?
Yep.
I love how long you've carried that. I love how long you've carried that burden.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
So, I mean, it's you say it's still like a running joke, making fun of your sock.
No, oh, my mom's just like, oh my God, that's so funny how you tell it, Caitlin. And just like your dad put the sock in the microwave.
So your dad, like, he sounds like, a very typical 90s dad.
He's a mechanic. So he just fixes things.
You would think he would know.
That would light on fire.
Yeah.
Well, it worked in the movie. So maybe the deeper meaning of this story is like how movies shape our minds.
Careful.
So true.
Your dirty pink socks, like, I mean.
Yeah, they were like, they weren't like, I don't know, it was just gross. You wear socks for a day and you wear them again.
Mm-hmm.
Are they stinky?
That was stinky. But I guess that was expected of me in the 3rd grade.
Okay, so I want to know how often you think about this, because to me, it's a very small thing, but like, you're really bothered by it. And that to me is delightful, how bothered you are. That to me is hilarious. So like, how often do you think about this? Like how much does this bother you?
Not often, only when like somebody asks me to tell a story. I can't, like, my mind goes completely blank and all I can think about is the time my dad burnt my sock in the microwave. There's so many other like grievances I could say. Like,
I think a certain part of like a childhood is putting like shit in the microwave and seeing what happens. Like, yeah. I remember like when I discovered that you could put CDs in the microwave and create a fun little sparkly type 4th of July celebration. Caitlin, you know what I'm talking about. Did you do that too?
I actually didn't do a whole lot with the microwave after the sock thing.
We were afraid to cook food in there after that point?
One time I misread, I was cooking chicken nuggets and I read, it said 2.5 minutes, but the one, for some reason I was used to seeing if it's a half, like the one being small and then the slash and the 2, but the one was like the same size as the 2 and the 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I read like 21/2 minutes. No! That means 21.5 minutes. I can do that. I'm super good at math. That's no. So then I did not like come back to it until there's 5 minutes left. And at that point, the chicken nuggets were completely black and like stuck onto the plate. And I had to throw the plate away.
I know what you're talking about when they do the halves like that. Like, just do 0.5, man. Why are you doing it like that?
I don't know.
You got to try to distinguish if there's a space or.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started on the metric system. Let's get to Lisa's part of the story. Thank you very much for sharing that, Caitlin. I love the degree in which that perturbed you. And Lisa, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Okay. So this kind of grievance is like, I don't know, against the universe or whatever, but I always end up in these situations where I just, like one time when I was waiting tables in DC, one of my friends, this blind guy, came in. He told me he was coming in ahead of time on a date, and he came in, and I like handed him a fucking menu, and he was just like he was totally blind, and he was like, "Why don't you just read me the specials?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I always put myself in these awful situations. Another time I was bartending at this place, and I walked up to this guy, and I was like, "Oh, isn't this Eagle Eye Cherry Song your favorite song?" And so I was like, "He's deaf, man." And I was like, "What?"
Oh no.
I used all the time. So when I was in Australia, I worked at this bar, and it was one of the busiest bars in the world. And each of us had to take turns about once a month and work the door. It's very strict there. So you had to take their ID, scan it into the computer system, and stamp the top of their right hand. Their security system is I mean, this it's hired from outside of the place. It's these huge like New Zealand guys and stuff, because if there's too many fights, if there's 3 fights in a year, you lose your ability to sell alcohol there. So I'm sitting there, and every time someone walks in, I take their ID, take their money. I need to stand at the top of your right hand. And every time they'd put their left hand out this way. Nope, top of your right hand. Top of your right hand. Top. There you go. Stand at the top of the right hand. So this girl comes in. She's got her hand in her purse like this. I was like, I need to stand at the top of your right hand. She puts her left hand out. Top of your right hand. And then she goes, but, and she pulls her arm out. And she doesn't have a hand. It's just like a nub from like here down.
No.
And in my mind, this went very quickly. I was like, oh, well, I don't want her to feel different. So I was just like, blah, and stamped her nub, which clearly she was trying to hide, which means she's got to wave it around to security at the bar. But that's not even the end of the story. I turned around to the security guy behind me, and I was like, oh, and he's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know, so many things. And he's like, go take a break or something. So anyway, we get back, 6-7 months later, whatever, get back to the United States. And I tell my friend this story. We go to a late night party after going out to the bars. And he was like, oh, I was chatting with this girl. And he was like, oh, tell her the story that you told me. And I was like, oh God, okay. So I start telling the story, and I get to the nub part, and she was like, mm-hmm. And I was like, no, like, I don't know if you understand, like from here down, she didn't have a hand or a wrist. And she was like, uh-huh. I was like, no, I don't think you got it. And she goes, no, I get it. And I just told the story about a nub to somebody else. This sounds so bad, but it happens. Just so with a nub. And I was like, oh, so did I do the right thing? Because I didn't want to make her feel like not included, so I stamped it. Is that? She was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, excuse me for 1 minute. And I went inside to my husband. I was like, we gotta go. He's like, what? I was like, I told the nub story to somebody with a nub, and he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's not the end of it. Then I told that story, how I stamped the nub and told that to somebody with a nub, to someone else. It was like, my dad has lost his arm in Vietnam. And I was like, why? How many nub people have you met in your life? Like, I found all of them. Anytime, like, I always want to be like, hold up your hands before I tell this story. Because it's like, it just brings them out the woodwork. And it just makes me feel like such an asshole all the time. Like, why do I keep doing this?
The way the universe loves to fuck with you. It's immediate
really
too.
There's many more of those examples. Like, I don't know why it happens to me like this.
So, you know when you are like faced with a very awkward choice, and then for some reason you make the worst choice, and like it's not even a choice you want to do, but you feel pressured, and it's all internal pressure. No one's doing it at all, but like somehow you are like magnetically drawn to the worst choice. Like, that is what it sounds like. Why would you stamp the nub?
I know. In my mind, it went so slow, and I was like, I don't want her to feel like I'm treating her differently. And then I was like, In reality, it went fast, but like, I mean, I started just racing. I was like, oh my God, she had her hand on the back, purposely trying to hide it. Like, I don't want her to think I've treated her differently, like, or think that I think it's weird, or.
I love how you flee the scene too. Like when like the
told me to go.
Like, let's go. You need like a getaway car outside at all times, Lisa. You really do.
Seriously. He told me to go. He was like, go take a break. I was like, oh, good. But his face was the best too, because I turned around and I was like, and he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. So much.
Okay, I have to pick a winner. Fucking, I hate this part. I don't know why I made this a contest. Okay, I'm gonna say worst grievance definitely goes to Lisa. That sucks, dude. Funniest. I gotta give that to Lisa too. That was very funny. I was dying. I was fucking dying, dude. Just the awfulness of that part of your life. Thank you for sharing it with us. I love this show because like this is the worst stuff that happens to us, and we're finding a way to like turn you into a winner for it. Like that makes me happy.
You're gonna get all these comments from like people with one hand. I'll send them my way. I'll be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They won't. You're clearly like a nice person who didn't mean to do any of that stuff. But that is Lisa. Lisa is the winner. Congratulations, Lisa.
Yay, thanks. Yay. Yes, this is so fun. So fun.
This was awesome. Fun. I want to say thank you to all the comics who graced this podcast with their very funny comedy. Please say goodbye and thank you to Caitland Juvland and Lisa Buck.
Bye. Yeah.
And thank you to our audience for tuning in. Again, reminder, we have new episodes every Wednesday. You can find them on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And until next week, have a great in-between. Bye.
Bye.